Fibonacci numbers are great for playing with the web, but they aren't a very useful real web application. Let's go ahead and use a real web application. And really, what we generally want to do when we're creating real applications is hook the web up to a database. That has provided us with really the most powerful kinds of applications we find on the web. So what we're going to do is log into mysql.quicm.net, or you might be on mysql2.quicm.net. So we get to PHP at myadmin, and I'm going to go to my main database, the only database I have on this server, and you'll see that right now all I have in here are the files that WordPress automatically installs as part of that process. We're going to add in a new table. Remember, tables are like pages in an Excel document, for example. So we're going to do one called, there's already a WordPress comments, but we'll call it new app. That's not a very good name for an application, but it works. The number of fields is the number of columns for an Excel document, for example. So what separate little pieces do you want for each record? And we're going to have 4. We're going to have something called the CID, the comment ID, the person's name, their email address, and whatever comment they're leaving on my site. I need to remember that it's called new app. All right. So we're only going to deal with ints and varchars here as the type. You always have to tell it what kind of type you're storing in each I guess cell, or for each value and for each field. So we're going to use an int for the CID. CID is for comment ID. It can be called anything. This is, again, like a variable name. It's a field name. It's what will show, if you were in Excel, it would be what, these things, the headers for each thing. We're going to call it CID. We don't need to talk about the length for this particular thing. We are going to do something a little bit special here. We're going to make this into a primary key. Primary key, this is where we differ from Excel. In a database, every table needs to have a primary key. A primary key is something that you have that is guaranteed to be unique for every row. So you can't use, in our case, name, because the same person with the same name might do multiple comments. You can't do comment. None of the other things we have are guaranteed to be unique for every entry. To make sure that these are going to be unique, we're going to use something called auto increment. Just forget about that for now. We'll run into it actually in a later lesson. So that's the hard one. The easy ones are name, email, and comment. As you can see, I've used those field names before. All right, and in this case, varchar is for a variable number of characters, and so we need to tell them what the absolute maximum is that we're going to have for the size of these things. 255 character name is very large. 255 character email is impossibly large, so we'll be fine with those. And we'll do a ridiculously large comment as well. So if someone wants to leave half a dissertation on my site, they can. In practice, we would probably limit these in the code, but this is okay for now. And a table comment is just to remind me that this table is for recording my comments on my homepage. I've obviously done that, used that as a label before. Okay, so I've got my setup. I want four columns there. I'm going to save it. All right, great. So I should be able to. I can't browse. Why can't I browse? Table seems to be empty. It tells me why I can't browse. So let's fill it up a little bit. Let's insert our 0th. Remember, we're computer people, so we start by counting with 0. My 0th entry, and we'll make it from SpongeBob SquarePants. He's at spongy.pants.com and lives in a... I don't know what he lives in. Oh, no. Let's just say lives at the bottom of the sea. Oh, why is it that I don't remember that? That's terrible. Okay, lives at the bottom of the sea, and comment number 1 is from S. Claus, Santa at northpole.com, and North Pole needs North Face. Okay, so we'll hit go. Error. It doesn't like it for some reason. Oh, I see why. Okay, no problem. Basically, because I've done that as an auto indent, it's not happy. So we'll do this for now and say go. Okay, so it's inserted 0. It needed that 0 to start with, so it knew where it was. And then it hasn't inserted anything for this second one. But you'll see when we take a look, it did it twice because we had it twice. We'll get rid of one of those. So it's inserted a couple of rows in here. So now we have the beginnings of a database. Let me insert one more. This is from a dude named One More. I at i.com. I hate spam. Okay. So we've inserted one more. If we now go and browse, you'll see that we have 3 different things. It threw it in here. I'm not worried about that. Again, this doesn't. The order of this doesn't matter. We can always sort it in here in MySQL, but in my PHP admin. But what's really important, PHP MyAdmin. But what's really important is what we do with it when it comes out from for the actual application. Now, if we were doing this for reals, I would actually have used one more column, and that is the time, a timestamp for it. But I'm not going to worry about that for now. I'm not going to do the timestamp for now, because basically the way we'd want to sort it is by, either most recent at the top or most recent at the bottom. But I'm not going to worry about sorting for this particular application. Okay, so the next step here is we need to move on to getting this stuff out of MySQL admin and or PHP MyAdmin and actually producing these records on a page in a way that we want. So for that, we just need to remember a few things. We need to remember our data. We need to remember our server, mysql.qqicm.net. We need to remember our username is ICM_Halevay. Our database name is ICM Halevay, and our table name, which we haven't had to deal with before, we need to remember that our table name is new app. We need to know our password, of course. And then we also need to remember CID, name, email, and comment. So we'll probably just leave this up so that we can go back and refer to it if we need to. All right, so I'll move on to the next section.